valuation decision formulas. We talked about how there are other decision formulas, and here they are. Well, profitability index. Okay, ready for this? You ready for this? Present value of cash flows. This sounds like, what does that sound like? It sounds like inflows to me. What does this sound like? The cost or the present value of the initial investment. That sounds like outflows to me. Whoa, that's crazy. It's absolutely bonkers. And then similarly, payback period, I mean, right, I'm kind of trying to tie all these together. Net initial investment kind of sounds like outflows to me. And then average incremental cash flow. That sounds like an inflow to me. Just to really drill in your mind, right? A lot of these formulas are so related. They have slight differences where sometimes we're going to do present value and sometimes we're going to do taxes. And, I'll go over those, right, and just drill into you what the differences are. But it's nice to have these concise ways to tie them together. So this profitability index, this is just, right, it's how profitable are you going to be. It's a percentage based on the fact that we're dividing. This would be used for capital rationing. This is the ratio of the present value of net future cash inflows to the present value of the net initial investment. Now, the initial investment might not have a present value because it might be, as we mentioned, you might just give $1 million today, and that wouldn't be present value factored because it was given today. I mean, technically, yes, it would be present value factored, but the present value factor would be 1. So it would be the same number and nothing there. That sounds great there. So to rank and select investments made by listing projects, that's going to be in descending order, right? We have limited capital resources. We have limited capital rationing. We have to ration our capital, our cash, to decide what projects we want. And these are going to help us decide which projects we take. Payback period. This is just how long is it going to take you to pay back your investment. It's usually something like 3 years, 4 years, right? If you spent $1,000, you're getting $500 back a year. Takes 2 years. Nothing crazy. And pardon, I believe I said percent. This is generally not going to be in a percent, but it's going to be in like an amount. But it's very much more. It's structured like a percent. We'll see these as we continue on. Profitability index example. So you see here, it's you can kind of think of. I like to think of it like a percentage. It kind of is. I mean, but here it is. Here's examples of profitability indexes. All right. So what are we going to do here? Firms choosing between 3 mutually exclusive projects. Mutually exclusive, we can only choose one. Only one will survive. Here are the projects and their respective inflows and outflows, as well as the present value of ordinary annuity factors. And because we are going to have those that repeat, we have inflows of same amounts, equal annual amounts, we can use the ordinary annuity factors. Great there. And just memorize the formula. It's a fancy way of saying inflows divided by outflows. Let's rank their profitability. Well, outflows are all on the bottom. You see here, outflows, initial outflow 60, initial outflow 49, initial outflow 78. These could all be building a new machine, building a whole new factory, building a new farm, and they're going to give you inflows for certain amounts of inflows for a certain amount of time. To determine the total inflows, it's just 18,000 times the factor, 15,000 times the factor, 22 times the factor. That gets us our numerator, which we then divide by the outflows and gives us a profitability index. Well, and from here, we just look, which is the most profitable. Some basic deduction, some real detective work right there. This is the highest amount. That's what we get. Yeah, project A is the most profitable, C is the second, and B is the third. If the firm only had the budget to pursue 2 projects, we would only choose A and C. If we have the budget for 1, we would choose A, and it could tell you. It might also tell you we have, let's say, $120,000. So, okay, $120,000, that would cover at least project A. Would that cover project C, though? No, actually, this would be more than $120,000 together. So if I had $120,000, I would pick A and B. See what I did there? Well, we didn't have enough to choose the 2 most profitable, so I chose the most profitable, and then B, which is profitable as well. It's not as much. right? If it has a profitability index of 1, that means it's at break even. So it's not as profitable, but it's better than nothing. The payback period. How long does it take for you to get your money back? Give me my dang money. I want my money. Well, the payback period is the net initial investment. So net investment, we'll see, possibly could have some immediate paybacks or some other factors when we are making our investment, divided by average incremental cash flow, also known as outflows and inflows. You're going to want to punch me in the face or take a drink every time I say this, aren't you? Well, it'd be like that. So the payback period metric is it really is just how long is it going to take for you to get your initial investment back from future cash flows? As you might think, you want a shorter payback period, right? I'd rather get all of my money back from my investment in a period of 2 years as compared to 10 years, as the company will recover its investment sooner. What's the discounted payback method? Sounds scary. All it is, it's just the same thing. It's the payback period, but we use present value factors. We discount them in order to account for the time value of money. So it's the same thing, but if the cash flows happen in year 2, we'll use the year 2 present value factor on it, and then year 3, just like that. It's like that. It's the same thing. Now, both of these are valid. I mean, the question will say use the payback period, use the discount payback period, and obviously the only difference, we'll just use the present value factors. The limitation of both of these methods is that these do not take into account cash flows after the initial investment has been recovered. So you see here, yes, it does tell you when your money is going to get paid back, right? You spend $1,000, it tells you how long it takes you to make that $1,000 back, but it doesn't give you an idea of future profitability after that. You see, I mean, in reality, if we are running a company, we probably want all these metrics together. I want a nice executive summary of all these metrics and their results because it'll tell me multiple things. It'll tell me how long. So maybe overall a project will be incredibly profitable, but because of the payback period, we know that that profitability won't come for, let's say, 20 years. So taking these all together and understanding how they all fit together like one big puzzle and they stand on each other, that's incredibly important for decision making, financial evaluation, decision making methods, and models. Now we have an example using our wonderful payback period. Again, if this said discounted payback period, we would just, right after year 0, we would start to factor these. But the company's going to spend $200,000 on a new machine. It will earn varying cash flows for 3 years until it's fully depreciated. See below for the cash flows. How long will it take for the machine to pay back the company? Okay, well, we can kind of do this little thing where we spent 200. So then in year 1, we still haven't made our money back, so we know it's at least going to be 1 year, right? So we took this into account, we took this into account. So now we're only down 75. Year 2, we're still not break even yet, so we know it's going to be at least 2 years now. That brings us to only negative $25,000 of cash flows. And then at year 3 or whenever you actually is the year, it's not going to be a clean cut, right? You're not really usually going to have a clean cut like, oh, it's exactly 3 years. So you got to do a little math and say, well, okay, we made 60,000, right? We had 35,000 of positive there. So 35,000 divided by 60,000 gives you 2.58 years. So year 2, this is 0.58 of a year. 2 plus 0.58 gives you 2.58 years. That's how long it'll take us to get our money back. This is the method, the process we'll use for all of our questions having to do with this. Nothing crazy. You got it. You're doing well. I have faith in you. And keep moving along. Hey there. Are you ready to not only pass your CPA exams, but truly understand and enjoy the material while studying? I know it seems impossible, right? Especially to enjoy the material. We'll do it together. Tap into the power of CPA.examprep.ai, where we've got personalized quizzes, multiple choice questions, memorization guides, flashcards, simulations, all tailored to your learning. Our adaptive study planning puts you on the fastest path to success and lifts you back up if you fall behind. Avoid wasting your precious time and money attempting an exam with a low chance of passing, because Who wants that? We want to get you through this process as quick as possible. Our exam readiness prediction lets you walk in with confidence, knowing that you're prepared for success on exam day. Thankfully, there's no payment method needed to get started, so why don't you come join us? Visit cpa.examprep.ai and let's achieve your exam success together.